Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 249 of your favourite Formula 1 show. Yes, Jamie and I, we finally return to talk about more Formula 1. We apologised in the last episode we did. It wasn't my fault, blame Jamie183. He decided he was going to go away to somewhere without internet to be able to do the show. So it's been a little while since I've spoken to my Formula 1 friend. How are we doing, sir?
I'm good. Enjoyed both races, especially the second one was better than the first one while we were away. But here to recap them both. It's a shame that it's Monday morning and I'm going back to work in not that long because I've had a nice week off. But it wasn't exactly restful because we had loads of kids to look after. But we made it and we're back.
Yeah, Jamie's kept it very, very quiet on the show, but he's actually got 5 children. He's been churning them out over the last 2 years. He really does get down to business.
That is not the case, as we well know. I would be doing a podcast once a week if I had 5 kids.
I can see you being a man with 5 children that just doesn't quite know how any of this happened. No, I think, to be honest, if anything, we probably picked one of the better Grand Prix not to do a podcast on last week. Because it would have just been 45 minutes of us moaning that the FIA cannot run on a wet circuit again. And by the time we finally went running, the track had all but dried out. That being said, though, Piastri made a good move on Lando Norris right at the start. And then Norris, when given an opportunity to try and fight with him again at the end, kept making little errors, which is kind of what we've come to expect to see so far this season. I refuse, Jamie. I'm setting a rule this week that we don't talk about Lewis Hamilton whatsoever, because these last 2 races, as a Hamilton fan, have been painful.
Leclerc's got a podium and a pole, hasn't he? Spoilers in the last two events. And Hamilton was out in Q1 in sprint quali and real quali in Spa.
Yes, he was.
And then he was out in Q2 in Hungary.
Yes, he was.
Didn't score points at Hungarian for the first time in his career when he's finished the race there.
No, yeah, I was saying he's DNF before.
And it's not good. And he's he should change the driver. He's trying to get out. He's doing an Antonio Conte at Spurs.
Well, apparently as well, he's got an announcement coming on the 8th, which I'm very scared about. We're going to talk about Lewis Hamilton.
It'll be PR. It'll absolutely be PR.
Well, he said something about how there'll be tears when the announcement comes.
It'll be PR.
Will it be PR or will it be something personal, family related is going on, is my other thought. Could it be something as simple, or not as simple, because obviously, I don't know if you have any pets or anything like that, but, if, say, Roscoe is being put down or something like that,
possibly. It
can affect it is a distraction at the end of the day, or something like that. Either way, we'll kind of wait and see. And, obviously, if it's a big enough story, then we might well do a podcast at the end of the week.
I'm not doing an emergency podcast if it is about Roscoe.
No, absolutely not. But if it's something if it's Hamilton retiring or something like that,
absolutely.
Then I think it'll be a called for at the end of the day. That'll be a great way to celebrate episode 250, won't it? Hamilton retiring.
You'll just be so sad.
I'll just be depressed. Like we said, though, do we want to give spot? You haven't been keeping track of the race ratings, have you, over the last few? You've been terrible this year.
I do want to talk about the FIA being, because it was a shame, because it kind of screwed over what could have been a really good race, because you had a really good mix of drivers who would sacrifice quali, knowing that the race was wet. So the likes of Max Verstappen, and there were more than him, but he was probably the big one, had basically chosen a high downforce setup for the Grand Prix qualifying and race, and then they basically waited an hour, maybe an hour and a half to start the race.
An hour and 20 minutes in the end.
Yeah, and they could have started half an hour earlier at least, and I understand why they didn't, because it's Spa, and obviously you've had the deaths of Antoine Hubert and Danilo Van Toff in the last 6 years now in wet Hubert wasn't even in wet conditions.
No, Hubert was dry.
Van Toff was.
Yeah.
I understand why they don't at a track like Spa, but if that weather was at somewhere like Silverstone, we saw it, didn't we? Or even somewhere like Hungary, a low-speed circuit, then they would have started 45 minutes earlier in the wet, and it would have made for a great race. But it was a shame to leave it so long.
Yeah, and then again, you think you kind of, because a lot of the drivers were referencing Silverstone, going, we ran there when we shouldn't have. We don't like to defend the FIA too much when we don't have to, but in their defence at Silverstone, the worst of the conditions were incredibly sudden. It was kind of raining a little bit, and then it just dumped a load of water down, which, they can't really do a lot about that instantaneously.
But if the Silverstone weather happened at Spa, they 100% red flagged that.
For absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it feels like, again, I remember, I think it was 2023 when I was there, and it literally started spitting down in the Porsche Supercup race. One car locked up around wide at the bus stop, and they instantly red flagged it. And you're kind of there like going, no one hit a wall, no one did anything. You can't just immediately expect everybody to stop just because, it might start raining properly. It is a fine balance.
These are the best drivers in the world, aren't they?
Exactly. Well, 19 of the best drivers are Lance Stroll. Although, to be fair to him, he did fairly well.
Stroll did very well at Hungary. So,
or was the Aston Martin car actually just the best one?
Not the best one, was it?
Is it a high downforce monster? But it's just got an old man and a washed-up driver in it. That's the ultimate question, Jamie.
Possibly.
But, yeah, I mean, in Belgium, like we said, the sprint, nothing happened. Max, brilliant. Obviously, move on Oscar lap 1. And obviously then just control the pace at the front. Not really a lot. Oscar,
very, very good race for Max.
Oscar didn't really want to risk it, though, either. Because, the last thing you want to do is end up having a crash with Max, trashing the car, not being able to qualify properly, and then starting the race on the back. He was still outscoring the one guy he needs to, and that was the important bit. And like we said, Oscar got the move on Lando on lap 1. There was a little bit of strategy. Hamilton as well, actually, in Belgium. Shout outs to him. He made a really good call early on. Got the jump on quite a few drivers. And then, I said to my dad, it must have been pre-sprint. Lewis Hamilton seems to have a tendency of either doing quite well, and I feel like he's done this for quite a few years now, or he does really well, or he finds a Williams car and just sits behind them for most of the Grand Prix in kind of like some trance, and that's exactly what happened in Belgium.
To be fair, he was doing very well. He got up to, P7, P6?
Yeah, P7 pretty much immediately, and then just stayed there.
And then Albon was in front of him, and he just didn't move for the rest of the race. Similarly, you had the actual two best drivers on the grid, Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. Just, did you see they matched lap times down to a 10th for
pretty
the
much
entire dry
period
race,
of the
race?
Yeah. I think it was something mad, wasn't it? Like, Leclerc's aggregate lap per lap was something like 47 thousandths of a second quicker.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, even more impressive when he's in a slow car. We did in 2022.
Well, for 5 races at the start, wasn't it? I mean, yeah, the Red Bull on low downforce would have made the McLarens sweat a bit, I think, in Spa. But, it just wasn't the one on high downforce on a dry track because they just couldn't overtake. So it was a shame. And I was very close, annoyingly, to getting 10 out of 10.
Yeah, this
on
was
predictions,
painful.
Which
this
has never painful. Happened in the history of the podcast.
No, we've never had a perfect sprint. Yeah. Never had a perfect sprint.
The scores before Spa, we'll do it all together at the end. The scores, I was 3 points ahead going into Spa.
Yeah.
I said Max Verstappen would win the sprint race, which he did.
Yep.
I said Lando Norris would get pole, which he did.
Yep.
Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Charles Leclerc. So I was the 2 McLarens away from getting 10 out of 10.
Yep, should have put more pace, more belief in Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, exactly. But 8 out of 10 is not bad. I'll take that.
No.
You said Piastri sprint, no. Russell pole, no. George Russell race win. I don't know where that came from.
I thought Spa was going to be a lot cooler, and obviously Mercedes did well there last year, so I was expecting. It feels like Mercedes have often done well this year at the same tracks they did well last year, but ultimately not well enough.
And then you said Piastri second, incorrect. Norris third, incorrect.
I still get 2 points.
2 points out of 10 possible, so I got 8.
Yeah, that's
I will update it now. So after Spa going into Hungary, I'm on 43 and you're on 34. Oh dear. That's not gone well.
that's a big loss. I think I did claw some back though at the Hungaroring. We'll talk about that
yes.
a little bit later on. But I mean, Hungary though, let's be fair, there's kind of a few main storylines, wasn't it? Obviously Red Bull again kind of had a bit of a stinker. Max was a bit anomalous. He still absolutely got everything out of the
horrendous.
car. It was just on a really odd weekend, wasn't it? Where Aston Martin suddenly delivered hilariously good qualifying pace, despite being slowest the weekend prior. I would genuinely make the argument, you put a Leclerc in that Aston Martin, he would have been on pole still.
Genuinely,
I genuinely think that Aston Martin was... Because I still firmly believe that Alonso is quite far past his best, to be honest.
Well,
We've said it
definitely
quite a
past
few
his best.
times this year.
He's still good, and he's still capable of competing on the grid. But
Yeah, but
I
my
don't think
point is is he actually, or is it just because he's going up against Lance Stroll? It's
then he's
a
absolutely
complete
pocketing
stat
Stroll,
pad, isn't he? But he only beat Stroll out by 25 thousandths of a second in qualifying, or something
yeah,
like
but
that.
that's 13-0. It doesn't matter how much you beat
No,
him
I
by.
know, but my point is, do you think anybody else on that grid could have gone more than the 10th quicker than Lance Stroll? Yes. It could have been
Well,
pole for
probably,
Aston
yes.
Martin.
Yeah, exactly. And their quali pace was definitely more flattering than the race pace was in the Aston. But yeah, the fact you had both of them like less than a tenth and a half off pole position was absolutely hilarious.
Stroll,
and the McLarens,
0.126 off pole, starts 6th. What an end to quali it was.
It was an amazing Q3. I don't know what happened to the McLarens, but they just didn't turn up.
I
And we
assume
completely
they
missed.
completely focus their setup on race pace to look after tyres.
Possibly. But even in Q1 and 2, they were the pace setters, weren't they? And then Leclerc wasn't really anywhere. And then suddenly just popped up on pole and we didn't even see him cross the line on the TV feed.
No, it was hilariously bad race direction. It was it honestly reminded me of, I think it was Hamilton 23, wasn't it? Because that weekend the track was really slippery. And what it was if you looked at the best combined split times of all the teams, Ferrari were 4th fastest. It was just Leclerc nailed that lap and got all of their best split times. McLaren could have set like a high 14. I think Red Bull and Aston Martin had splits like a 15 flat. Leclerc did like a 15-2 and Ferrari's best was a 15-2. It was just, he was a bit like Lewis in 23, the one driver that got the lap hooked up.
Yeah, I remember Carlos Sainz doing that quite a lot. It feels like every pole he got was always something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, everybody else made a mistake.
But yeah, fair play to Leclerc. He was very surprised. He also said Hungary's his worst track on Friday morning and then sticks it on pole, which is very classic Leclerc.
Yep.
Sadly for him, that was it started unravelling midway through the race for him. And that makes it, spoilers, 16 poles and 1 win in his last 16 poles now.
Hilarious
which is quite
track
funny.
record. The thing is, as well, like, I understand it's hilarious to kind of clown on Leclerc for this, but he's genuinely such a good qualifier. Like, when you look at most of those pole laps, there's so many there where you're going, it wasn't that the car should have won, it's he shouldn't have put it on pole a lot of the time.
And that's the stat, isn't it? It's Leclerc is qualifying out of position in first.
Rather than... Sometimes he does choke races as well.
Yeah.
But in the last 16... He converted 1, didn't he? Which even then you kind of look back and go, should he even... Yeah, that one he should have converted. But you're kind of there looking at it going, a few more, yes, he might have been able to win. But like all those poles in 23, not a chance should he have converted them anyway. You're kind of there going, again, it's more a question raised about how he ended up getting on pole just through brilliant... I mean, it's his record at Baku, isn't it? How many times is that pole there and still cannot win that thing? If I'm not mistaken.
Exactly,
It's just insane. That's probably one of the ones where he could have won. Oscar did very well to get past him. Baku last year. Which, fun fact, Jamie, actually, when you look back at it, I mean, you can always talk about these hypotheticals, can't you? But had Charles been able to hold off Oscar there, that would have meant Ferrari were Constructors' Champions last year.
Yeah, very true. Equally, Max was just doing all he could to screw over McLaren in the last 5 races, wasn't he? So he basically handed Ferrari a 1-2 in Mexico and USA.
Yep.
So it goes both ways, doesn't it? If Max wasn't trying to be so annoying, McLaren would have easily won the constructors.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. And Lando obviously being a bit of a bottle job as well. We're getting very off topic there.
We are.
Gabriel Bortoletto, Jamie, I've hyped him up a few times this year. I've given you some stake. It's a shame Hulkenberg got that podium. Now we've had a bit of time to kind of settle the dust over that one. It's a bit of a shame because it's basically going to stop him from difficult conversations that Bortoletto is quite often doing a better job.
Yeah, especially these last 2 races. I mean, including Silverstone, that's 3 in a row that Hulk's been out-qualified by Bortoletto now. Especially the last 2, where Bortoletto's got into Q3.
Yep.
And Hulk's been out in Q1.
Yep.
That's not a good look. And that's, it's a good job he's got the podium, because now nothing matters.
No, exactly.
But Bortoletto is genuinely doing a really good job. And fair play to him. And Hulk, I think he got the podium and partied a bit too hard, to be honest. and now he's kind of like
2 weekends off to recover.
He needs the summer break to reset a little bit, but he got the podium, so
it's all that matters.
Who really cares?
All that matters.
Not me.
It still seems like something like in an F1 career mode where like one of those was like 18 cars DNF, and it's like one of the back markers just gets a podium because of some stupid glitch.
But it wasn't even that. It was just
I know, but it's just like you kind of look back at this now, even 3 weeks later, and I know we talked about it, and obviously all the great strategy and great race pace. You kind of there going, how did that happen? It still doesn't make sense.
From 19th on the grid is mental still.
Absolutely
but the Sauber does show a good turn of pace because Bortoletto's been doing really well in it. Hulkenberg, obviously, the Silverstone was the end of a 4-race scoring streak, so he was doing very well up to that point, and then hasn't scored points since. Whereas Bortoletto's got now 2 second best of the rest, if that's a thing.
That wasn't best of the rest, though, was it? Because Alonso.
No, but second place. Best. He wasn't.
Sorry, second place.
He was behind somebody in Spa, wasn't he? And then behind Alonso. Wasn't it? Who finished 6th in Spa? Albon. He was behind Albon and Hamilton, wasn't he? Midfield, as we're going through it, shout out to Liam Lawson.
Turned it around recently, hasn't he?
He has. He's got the last 4 races, a 6th place and 2 8th places, and a lap 1 incident that wasn't his fault. So, I think he's doing really well. And Hajar, I don't think has scored points in that time.
No, it does feel like VCarb have kind of fallen off a little bit recently, doesn't it? I mean, Davey said to me before the show, so I think Hajar's starting to get a little bit shown up by Lawson now.
Not that far.
But I think for both of them, isn't it, at the moment, it's kind of that element of, it's probably a little bit off. I don't really want to beat the other guy by too much, otherwise Red Bull might demote me into their
camp. They're not thinking that in the slightest. You're an F1 driver. You're obviously going to try and perform as best you can.
No, exactly.
But Hajar's doing very well in quali, but he's getting unlucky.
He did also almost break his fingers yesterday.
Yes, he did. But he's not scored points in a little while
now. No. Which we need to discuss that, putting gravel right on corner exits, on things like that, especially on like slow speed traction zones, because that's just a recipe for disaster, isn't it? No, it's a little bit stupid, but it's kind of there. Like, what do we actually do to fix it?
Well, do you need gravel at the exit of turn 11 at Hungary?
Could you put a sausage curb there? I mean, we don't like sausage curbs, do we? Because they always end up in disaster. What could you put there?
But like the Austria turn 1 exit curb would work there. Something like
that. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about. I think they did have one around a few of the corners around here for quite a while as well, I think, if I remember correctly. Or do you remember the old Hungaroring drains as well? They always did quite a good job. Just the fact the whole circuit was surrounded by drains.
I don't remember that, to be honest.
It was just like, because that's what, I think it was Perez, wasn't it? Like a practice session rolled.
Yes.
When the wheel dug into one of the drains after it had already come off the tethers. That's what we need back.
Hajar he got a point in the Belgian sprint, but he's 5 races in 5 Grand Prix without points now.
Yeah.
And Lawson's only 2 points behind him.
Yeah, no, it's one of those ones again, isn't it? Where
closing up.
Yeah. I say we're definitely going to do a podcast, aren't we, over the summer, trying to rate or rank the rookies. Because it has been a very, very interesting storyline, because it feels like all of them at one point or another have kind of showcased themselves to be the best rookie.
To be honest, the whole midfield is extremely close. Like, obviously, Hulkenberg and Albon are a bit... Hulk's got 10 points on Ocon, but Ocon down to Bortoletto is 13 points, and that's 10th to 17th.
Yeah, no, it is.
Which is, like, crazy.
Yeah, I think, again, it's what great, isn't it? Especially now Sauber this year have kind of turned up as we don't kind of have one clear back marker, which is good. I mean, you can make
Pinto, really.
Yeah, apart from... Well, even then, he's shown good flashes of pace still. I still think it was a bit of a sidestep to bring him in for Doohan. I still like to see like a Paul Aaron Gava go, or I know it's unlikely now because Bottas seems all but nailed on at Cadillac, but I still would have liked to have seen a Gasly-Bottas lineup, because I think putting Bottas in probably could have saved them. Towards the end, even if it was just half a season. I think you could have really given those other backmarker teams, or not even backmarker, those other midfielders.
Certainly has.
Yeah, there's some awkward headaches, which would have been great to see.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of midfield drivers, or midfield teams nowadays, Red
Ferrari?
Bull.
Oh.
Red Bull are horrendous. Obviously, Laurent Mekies has had a few races in charge now. We missed his first race, but to be fair to him, he won his first race in the sprint in Belgium.
He did.
But this Red Bull in Hungary was absolutely horrendous, and that was a big shame.
Can we talk quickly about the floor controversy down at Red Bull?
I actually didn't see any of that, so knock yourself out.
Spa was the first time since Imola that Sonoda had the same floor as Verstappen did. Because, and again, obviously you don't quite know all the internal politics of this, that and the other. Apparently Christian Horner had flat out refused, like they had one there all this time, but they'd flat out refused to give it to Yuki in case Max needed it for like a quarter of the season. Wow. If that doesn't go to show why Red Bull deserve to struggle in the constructors, I don't know what will.
Well, they are running a one-car team, aren't they? Basically, like
completely with things like that. Like it kind of was one of those ones where you're there going, I now see why they've had so many problems recently.
Yeah, and they finally gave Tsunoda this floor in Spa.
Yep.
And he qualified 7th, didn't he?
Qualified 7th. Was a 10th off Max, or 10th and a half off Max in Q1 in Hungary. Was just unlucky that both of them struggled.
Red Bull was awful.
Yeah. Yuki said literally, he's like, once I get the same car after the summer break, hopefully, like I said, I don't think sensibly he thinks he's going to be able to beat Max, but at least if he's at least closer to him. And that's all he really wants. I mean, the problem is as well, I'm pretty certain Yuki has never actually done a grid start in the Red Bull. It seems like every week he does park firme changes and starts with the pit lane.
Well, that's because he qualifies so low, so you might as
normally, yeah.
But like, he's without points since Imola when he got 10th, which is pretty poor.
He was unlucky in Belgium. He did get a bit screwed over in Belgium.
He did, because they called him in as he was going past the pit entry, so that was
after he'd gone past pit lane entry. So we just got undercut.
And the crossover period basically defined everything, and from that point on you couldn't pass. Like Gasly got into
no
10th,
one could
didn't he,
get
and
past.
Just stayed there.
Yeah.
Kimi Antonelli, who you declared as Ayrton Senna.
I did back in Miami. I didn't declare him as Ayrton Senna. I just declared him as the Ayrton Senna reincarnation.
Since then, he's obviously got that very good podium in Canada. But
apart from
that,
6
non-points and a 10th place in Hungary.
A couple of those have been mechanical failures. Yeah. Or quite a few of them, actually, when you look at it. What's that? 2 mechanical failures.
It wasn't.
Imola,
he was
Spain.
hiding to nothing, really.
No, Spain he was on for points, I thought. He was really like 9th.
Who cares?
Still points. Points are points, Jamie. Hang on a minute, you'd throw Hulkenberg a tea party at the start of the year if he came 8th again.
In a terrible salvo.
2 mechanical failures. He got rammed at Silverstone, so he couldn't do a lot there either. Belgium, made a bit of a mistake in the sprint race, and then he was another one that got a bit shafted in the race through bad strategy as well. Although he wasn't going to recover as well as Hamilton
qualified out
did.
in Q1. So.
Yeah. And then Hungary was just a bit slow again, wasn't he? He was, kind of. It's that horrible thing, isn't it, of where the field is so tightly bunched. Like, you can look at a George Russell comfortably getting into Q3, or a bit like Tsunoda with Max as well. If you're 2/10 off your teammate, that on paper is not bad, and 5 years ago that'd be great. Back when we had just 3 dominant front-run teams, but of course nowadays that means you're 13th and in for a terrible race,
which is great for the sport. It's just a bit of a shame for those drivers who are 2/10 off their teammates.
I still firmly believe there needs to be extra support for rookies coming in. Something needs to be changed to give rookies a better chance. Whether that's
on that.
Just because Hulkenberg's getting shown up by Bortoletto.
No, but
but we spoke about this going out of 23 into 24 when we got no rookies in. The problem is it incentivizes teams to not take any risk about trying to bring in new talent. Which, again, obviously this year was a lot better. But I still think there needs to be a little bit more done.
What do you propose? Give him a bigger DRS or something?
No, I'm talking about like an extra day of testing or something like that.
Okay.
At the start of the season.
I could see that.
Like, say, for example, if testing's done, it's like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday now, isn't it? The rookies should be given Friday as well, or something like that. I just think
it's massively... It entices the teams to take on rookies because they get an extra day of testing.
But then...
I almost think you swing it against the older drivers.
Got a rookie coming in.
And the rookie has to be the one to do the testing, I guess, as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. It would just be that Friday is the rookie. I'm not talking about like a huge overhaul of like they should get unlimited testing time behind the scenes, but I just feel like they should be given a little bit more.
But that's the beauty of F1, isn't it? It is the pinnacle of motorsport, and if you're a rookie coming in, you've got to perform. Otherwise, you get Jack Doohan. And to be fair to him, he wasn't that bad. But
no, exactly. You get Flavio Briatore is the problem there.
Yes, exactly.
The bigger problem as well, isn't it, that F2 needs to be overhauled completely or just binned off because it is no longer a good metric for Formula 1.
Though some of us can still predict the championship leader back in March, so...
Yeah, I'm gutted I didn't back Horner anymore, but I didn't want to jinx him, unlike you.
There we go. Lewis Hamilton, I do want to talk about a little bit, because... Yeah, what's going on?
I don't want to think about it, man. I just pray that it's not going to be a retirement announcement.
If he does retire, which I don't think
I can't. The thing is, it seems so stupid to do it before a big reg cycle, unless Ferrari have absolutely pooed the bed with the regs.
Or Ferrari have told him, like the interview where he was like, they need to change the driver. Like, there seems to be more going on. Because, going into Belgium, he was all positive. He's like, I've had meetings with the team, we're going to change all this stuff. We're going to do all this stuff because, I'm here to win an 8th title, really. And it just hasn't... Since he said that, he's been worst form of the season, really, hasn't he?
But Fred Vasseur got re-signed. His contract got extended. This should have been stability, and Freddie V wouldn't want to get rid of him, surely.
No, I don't think he would. And it's not like they've got some crazy good driver to go out for, is there? Unless they... Like, genuinely, I think if Hamilton does retire... they'd probably go and get Carlos Sainz back, to me.
I don't know about that. I wondered whether, could it be hilarious if it turns out they've tried to poach Max or something like that.
I don't think Max
if they had a contract announced from, like, back in the mid-2000s when Ferrari announced Raikkonen midway through 2005 for 2007, whether it's, we've got Max for 27 or something like that would be hilarious.
Be quite jokes. I don't think Max is brave enough to try and do what four of the champions have failed to do now.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, but it's not looking good because Leclerc's now on 5 podiums and a pole, and Hamilton's got
a sprint win. A sprint win, which definitely I still firmly believe was probably done in an illegal car. Like, that plank wear must have been hilarious.
Yeah, they probably just didn't test it after the sprint.
No, just crazy. Yeah, I don't know what that announcement's going to be, but I am a bit nervous.
What do we think about the McLaren title fight? In terms of, we said after Silverstone, didn't we, in a little mini break, if one of them wins both races, the title will go their way. If it's one each, we've got a good season on our hands.
Exactly. And to be fair, at the time, I did say it would probably be one each, and then went on and predicted Russell to win one of them for some reason. But there we are. We won't talk about that. I mean, to be fair, I think Oscar was a little bit upset coming into Hungary, which was...
Well, rightly so.
Rightly so, because he did get a bit screwed over on strategy. And
this is why Mercedes, back in the day, always... gave the drivers the same number of stops and just let the drivers play around. They always gave the leading driver the optimal 2-stop, for instance.
But the leading driver should be allowed to pick when he wants to pit and things like that. The one I always think about was Rubens Barrichello. I think it was 2009 Spain, wasn't it? Or after the race, like, he'd done a 3-stop, Jensen did a 2-stop. And of course, for him at that point, that would have been like his first win in 5 years. And he was literally there going, unless I'm given fair and equal treatment here, I'm going back to Brazil and I'm not coming back.
Yes, and then Ross Brawn did. But that's the thing is... Yes,
and Barrichello won 2 races.
He did. In that scenario, they have technically given Barrichello the faster strategy of a 3-stop that day versus a 2-stop. But the way it played out, because it's a motorsport and actually overtaking is a little bit difficult on time to time, the 2-stop was quicker. And there's exactly the same scenario in Hungary yesterday, as we record this, that the 1-stop, if you were in clear air, was absolutely quicker than the 2-stop. You saw it with the Aston Martins. You saw it with Norris beating Piastri after being, 5th on lap 1, like 5-8 seconds behind.
Yeah.
The problem with giving your teammates in a title fight different strategies is you can do as many simulations as you want. You actually don't know which is faster until you've done a 70-lap race at Hungary. So what they need to do is a bit what Mercedes did back when Hamilton, Rosberg, and Bottas, to be fair, were teammates. They always gave their drivers the same strategy. I remember Mexico's 15, I want to say. After Hamilton had won the title, Rosberg qualifies on pole. It's a 2-stop race. They pit both drivers. Rosberg 1 lap before Hamilton at the start. They pit Rosberg again. And Hamilton on the radio tries to argue, let me go to the end. And the team's like, no. Because they thought he could go to the end and he might beat Rosberg. And that's not fair to give him a better strategy when he was the second driver. Because Rosberg might have wanted to go to the end, but they pit him. So I feel for Piastri because, yeah, it was unlucky. He was the faster driver. He qualified ahead. And they basically used Piastri to try and beat... Well, they did a pincer movement, didn't they? They used both McLarens to try and beat Leclerc.
Yeah, which works great when you're battling Leclerc for a championship, but you're not.
Exactly. Who cares? I think that's what Piastri was saying on the radio when they asked him, do you want to beat Leclerc or Norris? And they were like, Norris. Like, McLaren almost got tunnel visioned on winning this race, whereas both drivers, if you ask them, are like, all I care about is beating my teammate, realistically. Like, yeah, I don't... Yeah. It was signs of an inexperienced title battling team.
Yeah, and it is mad, isn't it? Like, when you think about this for McLaren, of how long it's been. It's kind of bizarre, isn't it? You think, how McLaren are obviously such an iconic name in the sport, but this is the first time they've really had a dominant car since the late 80s, not even the early, it was the late 80s, it was 88, was the last time they had a dominant car like this.
A car this dominant, yeah.
Sensibly, unless obviously, you end up with some anomalous. For some reason, Singapore always delivers a weird race, for example. Sensibly, around normal-ish circuits in normal-ish circumstances, they should basically be winning every race between now and the end of the year.
And they almost have won every race up to this point, haven't they? There's been 3
They've
races
won
they haven't
most of them, yeah. But
they should have won Japan and Miami and Imola.
Sorry, they could have won Japan had they gone for a pincer movement,
or just qualified better
qualified better.
Yeah.
And
same at Imola.
It's kind of, you've got to have this discussion now of what I find absolutely mad is that either McLaren will be leading the constructors by themselves, which is quite an impressive feat. But you kind of have to sit down with both drivers and go, you're battling each other for the championship. They're letting you race, which, to be fair, still is good to see from McLaren. I think people often go, Lando's in front. He should be like, Oscar almost took him out towards the end. That doesn't get talked about enough, that Lando moved across him in the braking zone. Oscar, bit of a ragged dive bomb anyway. But had they come together, I think you could put a little bit of the blame on Lando as well.
Norris did what Hamilton did last year to Verstappen, but we don't talk
Not
about
quite, but okay. But it's kind of that. It's kind of this element of, do McLaren focus on trying to win every race towards the end of the year? Great. You're going to win both championships anyway. Or do you just kind of give them a fair fight? And how do you give them a fair fight? Do you just let the drivers pick their own strategy from now on? Like,
no.
Do you just force them onto the same strategy every week?
You force them on the same strategy. You tell Norris in the race yesterday,
you are pitting
again. You are pitting again, choose when. Well, yeah, it is fair, because then you don't get in situations where you've accidentally favoured your second driver by giving him a better strategy.
Point is, if you're letting them pick the strategy, you're not favouring them. They're screwing themselves over.
Yeah, but that's because, like, in this case, Piastri was technically on the faster strategy, simulation-wise. And, like, if you gave Piastri a choice, maybe he would have tried to go to the end. But they ordered him to pit early to beat Leclerc.
Which, but this
in
is
hindsight,
what I mean.
Wasn't the right
If they don't order you to anymore, if he goes, right, I want to try and undercut Leclerc.
Yeah, but you're not going to have your team running this, like your drivers running the strategy, are you? Because you've got loads of strategists.
You give them the data to help them. But, yeah, I don't know. It's a very difficult one, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, unless they can pit at exactly the same time, you're always going to screw over one slightly against the other.
The lead driver should get preferential pit stop.
Exactly.
And they should be on the same number of stops over the course of the race. And yeah, let the second driver get a tyre delta, sure. A bit like what Norris did in Belgium. but it doesn't sit right with me that Norris basically lucked into the win by getting a bad start and being fifth.
Would you say the same if Oscar had done it and Lando hadn't, to try and get ahead of Leclerc?
What do you mean? So if Oscar went on a one stop,
had they said to Lando, right, we're going to try and box you to put pressure on Leclerc at the front, Oscar stays out, does a one stop and wins.
They couldn't do that because Norris was so far behind after the first stint because he was overtaking Alonso and Russell. Like, the only reason Oscar got forced onto a two stop was because he didn't mess up his start.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough.
They didn't, yeah. And like, Norris still drove well. He did, to hold off the pressure at the end. And Piastri was a little bit ragged. I think in hindsight he could have not gone for such ambitious moves and maybe waited for one absolute send on the last lap, which he didn't really do.
No, he got just from looking at that tyre the lap before, didn't he? He ended up in a bit of trouble there.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I don't think either of them drove flawlessly at all. To be honest, I think George Russell was probably the best driver of the day.
I think it's hard to argue against Leclerc. It was just Ferrari had to make setup tweaks going into the final stint.
He turned into an absolute red mist merchant at the end, didn't he?
He did, but that was in his defence. He did apologise to the team afterwards, but they hadn't told him that they changed the setup at the end of the race.
And
obviously, what they
picked
can
up
within
chassis
half
damage.
Yeah.
Which basically meant his pace went to he was already dealing with an issue to do with the setup, which cost him 2/10 from the first pit stop onwards, and then the cracked chassis basically cost him a second a lap from the second pit stop onwards, which is why he dropped 35 seconds to the McLarens over the course of the final stint.
Yeah.
So he did get a bit screwed. He probably could have got a podium. I don't think he would have won.
No,
but maybe he would have done.
Yeah, it's a difficult one.
But
do we want to do predictions recap for Hungary then? And then I'll give you a quiz, because I think you're going to like this one.
Okay, so scores out to Belgium, for those with a very short memory.
Don't remind me.
43 points to me, and 34 points for Matt. You said Lando Norris would get pole position.
Nope.
He did not.
At least
Lando Norris would win the race, which he did.
Yep. 2 points.
Oscar Piastri second, which
4
is
points.
True. He did. And Lewis Hamilton, third place.
Yeah.
Not so good.
I think I misspoke. I think I was meant to guess 13. No, he came 12th. He started 12th, finished 12th. It was a great drive.
Exactly. So 4 points, not bad. I said Oscar Piastri on pole position. Not the case. I said Oscar Piastri would win the race. Nope. Lando Norris would come second. 1 point. And Max Verstappen would finish third. But it was 9th. Yeah.
Somehow that was still a better prediction. Only we could predict Verstappen and Hamilton, and neither of us get anywhere close to being right.
So that was 4-2, was it? What do you think about the Hamilton-Verstappen incident?
I only saw once the overhead shot, which made it look like there was a small bit of contact between the two of them.
There wasn't.
Have you seen the overhead shot? Because all the other angles make it look less... Like I said, I need to see the overhead shot again, because I'm pretty certain
there actually isn't one. The overhead shot gets covered by a tree at the apex, so you genuinely can't see it.
But there was a live feed, and I'm adamant that you could see it.
The live feed shots were on the barrier of turn 4. So
no, they weren't. It was definitely definitely there was one shot you could see from overhead.
Go look up the Sky Sports. Ant Davidson did a piece at the Sky Pad, and
fair enough.
Both camera angles, it just gets covered by a tree. It's like the universe doesn't want us to see.
It was the thing. At the end of the day, Max picked the perfect weekend to go for it on Lewis, because Lewis just didn't care. The reason why there was no penalty was because Hamilton didn't show up. I think
Hamilton didn't go.
Had this been 2021, had they been in a championship fight, what on earth they'd be doing battling for P11? It would hang on a minute. And this is what I don't understand, and especially with Max fans are going, "Oh well, Lewis, he was on the outside. He's got to give him space." Yeah, going. It's basically exactly the same as Silverstone 21, except the guy on the outside ran wide to avoid having a crash.
The only difference is Max was as inside as he could be at Turn 4 Hungary. Hamilton wasn't as inside as he could be at Cops.
Well, at the end of the day, Max shouldn't have been there. Lewis was a lot further alongside.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Silverstone.
Max was unbelievably ambitious at Turn 4.
Had Lewis gone to the stewards, he could have made that a penalty. It's just he didn't care.
Yeah, and Max probably wouldn't have gone for it on any other driver.
No.
Because he knew Lewis was depressed and wanted to leave.
I don't think he knew Lewis was depressed and wanted to leave. I just think Lewis lives rent-free in his head at the end of the day.
But yeah,
he's
Hamilton
still
jumped out the way.
I don't think he. Well, this is why I don't think he jumped out the way. Is I'm pretty certain there was a little bit of contact with Lewis's rear left. I'm adamant. I'm convinced there was, and it just gave because you look at the way the car moved. I'm adamant it got a wobble rather than just Hamilton backing out of it.
If there was any contact there, it's either a puncture or a massive crash.
It was only a tiny skim, but I'm pretty certain there was.
But yeah, that was a great battle for P11. I loved it.
Wow.
Yeah, Max. I don't know. Maybe he could have gone to the end and finished 5th or 6th or something, but they pit him again and he just no pace and he couldn't overtake Liam Lawson for half the race.
And I don't think he cares anymore. I think, championship fight is over. It's just drag it out to the end. He knows he's stuck with Red Bull now next year.
Yeah, which I think is the clever move.
Wouldn't it be wild if at the end of next year we lose Hamilton, Verstappen and Alonso? Because that would mean, apart from the McLaren on the grid now, we'd lose every world champion.
Verstappen won't quit for good at the end of 26, if he does quit at all. He's basically using 26 as a wait and see who's quick and I'll go there, basically, is what he's saying.
Pretty much, yeah.
But that's fine. And
do you want your quiz?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, of course, Jamie 183. We head now into the summer break. You got a quiz that you like to do when you step back through history.
Oh no!
You have got to name me who was leading the World Championship heading into the summer break every season, 24 backwards.
What about 25?
I mean, you can do 25.
I've got that one up on my screen, so it's Oscar Piastri.
Oh, you're cheating then. That's it. You're disqualified.
2024 was Max.
Correct.
23 was Max.
Correct.
22 was Max.
Correct.
He took the lead after like 5 races, didn't he? Never looked back. 2021 summer break was after Hungary, and they came back to Spa, didn't they? This is hard because I know Max had a big lead before Silverstone, but then Hamilton obviously won with a DNF and then came second with a 9th. I think Lewis Hamilton led the championship.
Correct.
Okay, good. 2020. Was there even a summer break in
technically,
2020?
I won't give you one there. There was really. I mean, you could make the argument it was Hamilton because he was leading at the end of 19.
Yeah, the break. Yeah.
There was no summer break.
There wasn't one.
Yeah.
2019 was Lewis.
Correct.
2018 was very tight at this point, wasn't it? We were at the first race after the summer break in Belgium.
We were.
Vettel won it. I will say Lewis Hamilton, but I'm not sure.
Correct.
Okay. 17. This is more likely to be Seb because he won Hungary, didn't he? Ooh, that's hard. I know Ferrari absolutely capitulated in Asia, didn't they? But up until then, they were doing quite well. I think it was still Hamilton, actually.
Incorrect, I'm afraid.
Oh, it was Vettel.
Sebastian Vettel had a 14-point lead after the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Oh, okay.
And that's just how bad he choked the second half of the year.
I knew that Hamilton won Spa, and I don't know, I thought he was still ahead before that, but never mind. That's a good quiz. I'd enjoy that.
No, I thought you might like that one.
Who remembers championship standings going into the summer break, though?
It is quite interesting, though, isn't it? Just how fairly often it does change. Like...
well, that was we got back to the first one that did change, didn't we?
Hamilton, technically 21. Well. Technically, not really.
Are you admitting that Hamilton didn't win the championship?
No, I'm not. I refuse, and I never will. I can't wait. Actually, that's surely going to be the announcement on Thursday. Is the FIA are actually giving him that championship back? That makes sense, doesn't it?
What if they give Felipe Massa 2008? That could be it.
Yeah, I genuinely wouldn't mind if they gave Felipe 08 if they gave Hamilton 21. I would not be
Hamilton's
salty about
only a
that.
6-time champion. You've heard it here first.
No, because then he gets 21, so he's a 7 still.
Yeah, but he won't get 21 back because.
So what? Hang on a minute. I can Massa gets 08, but Lewis doesn't get 21. How is
Even
this fair?
if they delete Abu Dhabi for being Michael Massey, Verstappen still wins the title. If they delete Singapore,
delete Belgium as well.
If they delete Singapore because of Renault, Flavio Briatore, in 08, then Massa wins the championship.
You're cherry picking stats here, Jamie. This is your problem. This is your problem. This is.
I'll
not
pick
an
the stat that
alternate
Hulkenberg
timeline.
still on more podiums than Lewis Hamilton this year.
Well, fair enough. What's scaring me is that could genuinely, like, if Lewis does
That could be the
somehow
case.
retire now, that might genuinely be the case this year.
Even if he doesn't retire.
Yeah, it might genuinely still be the case. Oh, this is painful. Painful. Jamie, have we got anything else to add? I don't think so. We've done
Race
pretty
rating? I know we haven't done it. Belgium,
well.
like
4, 3,
5.
3.
It was boring as, wasn't it?
3. Nothing happened. I didn't give it a 5. Nothing happened.
4.
Yeah.
Hungary, it was decent. Hungary was fun. 7.
I'm going to give it a 6. I'm a bit more pessimistic than you nowadays. I'm a harsh
Hamilton's doing
critic.
awfully.
Exactly, yeah. No race is worth more than the 5 apart from the Shanghai sprint. It's just the way this works now.
Driver of the days, Belgium.
Driver of the days.
Piastri.
Yeah, possibly. I think Lewis
Hungary.
deserves a shout out there as well. Because he did
George
do well
Russell.
early on. Hungary, George Russell. Okay. No, I'm going to say Bortoletto at Hungary.
Fair.
Gabriel
You got the real
Bortoletto.
one.
Brilliant driver of the day. Yeah, like we said, we're hopefully going to do a few more random podcasts, of course, over the summer break now. Of course, Jamie likes to go away during the F1 season, and then we've got I don't know. Jamie's probably got 4 holidays
I'm still
booked.
going away in a few weeks.
Where are you going now? This is ridiculous.
I'm going just to Cannes for a few days, but I thought that won't affect anything.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much as always for listening. Get yourself subscribed if you want to. We're not so worried nowadays. We've got over 1,000 subscribers now, so it is what it is. But yeah, Jamie and I will return next week. We might rank the rookies. We might do something else. We might react to Lewis Hamilton's sudden retirement announcement. Who really knows? All I can say is I'm rather scared.
We will be there.